Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Self Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm your host Christopher Walch, and I actually do know now how my last name is actually pronounced in English because I've spoken to a native speaker, and she told me yeah, you could either say Walch or you could on the other hand say Walk, and I'm really into walk because watch would be some kind of not that sounding good. But I'm an 18-year-old by now graphic design student from Austria, and I'm now going to go through with you through Unshakable, which is a book by Tony Robbins, which is about investing and just seeing where your money goes. And Unshakable actually refers to your bank account, so your bank account should be actually unshakable. I have in my leisure time have been reading a summary about it, or actually have been really reading something on Tony Robbins' blog. So I won't. So he has a blog, and so there are quite a lot of good information. That's my point of view, or they should be. I haven't been really on it, but there actually should be, because he is an amazing person, not only because of his character but also because of his knowledge. It's just amazing. But we will go through this book summary together. As you can see, I'm not, on the normal pages I'm on, because I'm now at the paulminus.com website /unshakable, I guess. Because the powermove.com website, which is, the website I normally going through all these summaries, is just down, or just don't let me go through summaries anymore, because he says, or it says, actually the website says that I do have to subscribe or log in to actually go through more summaries. Thing is, subscribing actually costs me, I think, $20, which is I'm not that into spending money right now, or in a position I am right now. And so I've been looking for another way to get a little bit more knowledge about investing, because I do not have any clue about investing, to be honest. And this is just now really me getting knowledge, and I hope that you might also do not have that expertise knowledge, or if you have, actually just give me tips. Really just write something down in the comments or DM me or whatever, so that I can actually post it. And yeah, this would be great, actually. But enough being said, I go through this summary because I'm not that good in the time. I wasted quite a lot of time. The stream is actually going 12 minutes by now, which is just me searching for actual forums, or actually articles and or book summaries in terms of investing, or with the topic of investing to actually be discussing. But yeah, Unshakable is another excellent book from Tony Robbins. In this book, Robbins examines the current financial conditions and takes you through facts, figures, and historical patterns to help you understand the market and its fluctuations. Robbins has tips for anyone looking to invest money and invest in your own future. Common misconceptions and mistakes are discussed, so you know what not to do. Using his hand-selected financial masters, Robbins supplements the information with plenty of real-life examples. The last section of the book is perhaps the most important. It's about how money does bring happiness and fulfillment. Robbins has tips on how to master your mind and find inner peace. Actually, today was a pretty great day. Everything went quite well in school, and with the train. So I have been talking about why the train gets a lot of delayed because of the snow lately. It's not snowing right now, which is good, because then the train actually works. I come home pretty on point, and I can get to school pretty on point. But today I've really been sitting in my chair in the train, and I was like, yeah, if you now gave me $1 billion, or even less, it doesn't matter, what would I do? The thing is, I then really just seen that it won't make me happy, because if I had just $1 billion, I would maybe just buy me, first of all, whatever I always wanted to have, and then that's it. What should I do with the money? And then I've been actually like, man, money is just actually something I do not need. It's not like, I'm that rich already that I do not need it, and, I'm happy with everything. Yeah, some things could be greater. Actually, my phone could be greater. It's so fucking slow, but the thing is, I have to live with it, and I do really want to live with it, because actually I then just, came to the point where I was like, actually the progress of, getting rich or getting successful, or actually, achieving all the things yourself, and, being in this progress is the goal itself. Because at the end, you just have everything, and then you're stuck. It really depends on what you're doing to get to this place. And this is also the reason why I'm really willing to help other people and just, bring value to others. Because this is at the end the real goal for me, or the real thing for me that's making me happy. Because it won't be the money that's making me happy. And it won't be, I don't know, the cars or the houses or the watches or all these things, you just see on social media, which seem to make you happy, but actually don't. At the end, for me, it should be, or is actually, just making other people happy, just bringing value to other people, helping them with their businesses, doing great for them, and just some sort of these things. I think these are the things that I'm actually really willing to achieve, not the money. And this is something a lot of people get wrong, I think, especially people that are unhappy. They do not actually think about what they can do, or just right now, to actually get happy, but they only see the money and, all these fucking pieces of shit that should get them happy according to social media and in general media and all these, fucked up things, which is not true. So yeah, it's just a little bit on that, because I really wanted to say it today, because it is important. Money won't make you happy overall, some kinda. What I mean is that, yeah, it will make you a little bit more happy than you are right now, because you can actually, buy the things you've always wanted to have. And you might actually get the girls, and might actually get the cars and the watches, and I don't know, the nice houses, all these materialistic items that you've always been dreaming about. But at the end, at my point of view, you're just stuck at this position. Then, if you have everything, what do you do? Just, lay around all day long, which is definitely not something that I could do, because I'm a person who is just acting and doing something and creating something. And, at the end, it might only be making businesses or building businesses that's making me happy, and building businesses that maybe are also some kind of related to charity. So, at the end, just help people as well. But yeah, enough talking. Enough talking. We will go through the summary. So there's actually a table of contents, which is quite great, but I'll skip it right now, so I'm not going through it. So it's on the Paul minus, it's Paul, like Paul, and minors.com website. And then you should just, somewhere find a link to the book summary page, which is actually on the really front page. Then just go through, or just type in with Command F or Control F. Then you just, see a kind of text field. And then you can, type in investment or invest or something, or actually Unshakable or Tony Robbins would be also a great thing. And then you just, actually can go through it as well. So section 1, wealth, the rule book. Power and peace of mind in a world of uncertainty. We all dream of achieving that tremendous inner peace, that comfort, that independence, that freedom. In short, we all dream of big unshakable. But what does it really mean to be unshakable? It's not just a matter of money, it's a state of mind. When you're truly unshakable, you have unwavering confidence even amidst the storm. It's not that nothing upsets you. We can all get hooked, but you don't stay there. Nothing rattles you for any length of time. This state of mind This state of mind allows you to be a leader, not a follower, to be the chess player, not the chess piece. If you're struggling to make sense of the future of the global economy, join the club. We are living in strange times when even the greatest financial minds admit to be confused. So when you're truly unshakable, you have unwavering confidence even amidst the storm, which is just, for the podcast viewers, so for you who don't actually see the image itself, this is just some kind of quote which is or seemed to be pretty important for the author of the article. Great financial minds. If you're feeling stressed and confused, I understand. But let me tell you the good news. There are a few people who do have the answers, a few brilliant financial minds that have figured out how to make money in good times and also in bad times. One of the greatest lessons to learn from these money masters is that you don't have to predict the future to win this game. Here's what you do have to do. You have to focus on what you can control. And this is actually something that will be a post tomorrow, because I actually quite find it funny that you can control such a lot of things, but most of the time people just focus on the things that they can't control, like the weather some sort of. Yeah, I know you can control the weather, but not everybody can. Things that happen, like scenarios and all these things, in the big macro, in the micro, you can, by just acting, but actually just focus on the things that you can actually control, like your feelings, like what you're doing, your habits, and all these things. And at my point of view, these things that you can actually control, and if you can control them, you can actually control everything, your whole destiny, your whole life, all these things. And you do not need to have to control the weather, because actually it would be kind of boring to just have the sun all the time and sunny weather at the beautifulest weather. Sometimes rain is a great thing, because at my point of view in life, you actually just some kind of need the contrast between maybe even good and bad, or good and not so good. Because most of the time I just feel like, if everything would be just funny and beautiful and great all the time, you wouldn't really be like really be grateful for it to happen or to have. And I might not be that philosophical anymore. Might be not that great to listen to. So you have to focus on what you can control and not on what you can't. You can't control where the economy is headed, which is true, and whether the stock market will soar or plunge. But that doesn't matter. The winners of the financial game know that they can't control the future either. At my point of view, so for your little macro or actually micro universe, you can actually control your future. Yeah, that's totally true. You can control your future by the habits you have today, but the things you do today, and so just the actions you take today, which is pretty important to know, because a lot of people just have that kind of fixed mindset where they just know or might just be like, this is how I've been born, this is how it is, and I can't change it. The thing is, you can always change it. You can always change every fucking situation there possibly. And if it's not about you, being able to really act, it's you acting in terms of, the way you're thinking about it. If you just think about it negatively, you can think about it positively as well. So, you can always think differently about things. I just have actually to see if I can put it away. You need to learn the rules of the financial game, who the players are, what their agendas are, and where you can get hurt and how you can win. This knowledge set you free. This knowledge can set you free, sorry. You have to focus on another. So the money masters. The first one is Ray Dalio, the most successful hedge fund manager in history. The second one is Jack Bogle. Actually heard that guy already, which I've always had to stumble really across his name, and I wasn't really able to pronounce it correctly, but I hope I'll do it. So check Bogley or whatever, the founder of Vanguard and the revered pioneer of index funds. The third one is Mary Callahan Erdos, who oversees $2.4 trillion in assets at JP Morgan, Case and Co. The fourth one is T. Boone Pickens, the billionaire oil tycoon. The fifth one is Carl Icahn, America's most formidable activist investor. The sixth one is David Swensen, whose financial wizardry transformed Yale into one of the world's wealthiest universities. And actually, because of actually listening to Gary Vee and what he is saying, I'm really now into understanding why universities are just brands as well. I've been asking my teacher lately why Oxford University is actually some of these really great universities everyone wants to get in if you are actually in the UK, or actually for more people, because Harvard is also in the UK and is also a pretty world famous university. And the thing is, these are just brands as well. So either it's because of the real prestige you get from attending this university, well, actually having the even the possibility to get to it, which it at the end it would just be then the prestige as well. But yeah, I don't know why, but I just wanted to say that these are all brands, and yeah, that's it. These are all brands, and they act like brands, and I think I actually think that they act like brands. So it's not like me just trying to figure out the system of them. The seventh one is John Paulson, a hedge fund manager who personally earned $4.9 billion in 2010, and the eighth one, and maybe the most famous one, Warren Buffett, the most celebrated investor ever to walk the earth. So Unshakable will show you how these masters of the financial world prepared themselves, how they profit by anticipating winter instead of just reacting to it. As a result, you all be able to benefit from the very thing that harms those who are unprepared. 7 facts to free you from the fear of corrections and crashes. I think in terms of crashes, they actually some kind of talk about failures. I have been talking about just, every fucking single episode. It just seems to me to be like it. But it's actually important for me to really let people understand that failures are good things. Actually, as I was kind of listening to my parents, they all kind of act like, if you make failures, while they were, doing the homework with my little sister, actually, while they're doing this, my mother is always not really she's not liking it when my sister is making any failures. But then I just, asked myself, yeah, this is good, because, failures are actually good for yourself. And if you just, you really emphasize it into some people, or in some people, that failures aren't good in the slightest way. So even in the way that, failure is not good in terms of you not actually being able to make your homework correctly, then you just, fuck the whole system of failing. Because failing is good. You can learn through failing. You can learn through failing maybe even more than by winning. Yeah, but, if you just put these into your children, that failing isn't good in some kind of way, this will translate into a whole another way. So if you tell them that it is not good in homework, then they will take it to other place and be like, yeah, it's also not good in my life to be failing. And this is actually not the truth. So I could have said it with the last sentence only, but yeah. But yeah. So our capacity for pattern recognition is the number one skill that can empower us to achieve financial prosperity. Once you recognize the patterns in the financial markets, you can adapt to them, utilize them, and profit from them. Compound interest. The first pattern we need to recognize is one that Warren Buffett has harnessed to amass a fortune that now stands at 65 billion. And what's his secret? It's simply, say Buffett, my wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest. It's a common misperception, this belief that if your earned income is big enough, you'll become financially free. But we have all read stories about movie stars, musicians, and athletes who earned more money than God, yet ended up broke because they didn't know how to invest that income, which is totally true because, there's something called inflation, which just, makes your money worth less in terms of time or in terms of, economy. I don't really know it, but there is inflation. This makes your money, your cash, not worth as much as it was initially was worth it, and so investing would actually be a good thing. The thing is, according to Gary Vee, we all just head up to an economical crash like in 2008 and 2001 actually, if I remember correctly. And so then, the whole market crashes and everyone is just kind of poor, and all these companies have to cut down on their expenses and all those things and different kind of things, which means that your fucking stocks wouldn't be that much worth in these times, at my point of view, or this is just what I'm thinking about it, and I think this is just a problem that Gary Vee is willing to emphasize and just willing to really let us understand, or let other people understand that, your cash will be the only thing that's worth quite a lot, because all the stocks and all the things you have been investing in won't be as much worth as they initially were, because when all the markets go down, all the companies go down as well, and so it won't be worth as much. This makes sense. So, and then you just have your money, and your money will be worth then pretty a lot, because stocks aren't worth that much. Maybe even real estate won't be worth that much, or nobody has actually the money to really rent all these things and so on. And so at the end, only the cash is what's then really there. And yeah. No, actually you can see, not great. It a little bit bothers me that you can't actually see my hands, because they really emphasize what I'm talking about. It's a little bit of pity. It's really sad actually. But the thing is, there has to be the text you should have, because at my point of view, why should you watch a video where just someone is sitting there talking, period? And you actually can't really see what I'm talking about. It wouldn't be that good of an idea. But yeah. Where did I... So the awesome power of compounding is that over time, this force can turn a modest sum of money into a massive fortune. You are never going to earn your way to financial freedom. The real route to riches is to set aside a portion of your money and invest it so that it compounds over many years. Which makes sense, if you just do now invest into a company that's really maybe building up, or you just think that it would be or will be really building up and really being just one of the most, important companies in these times, like, Netflix is right now, or Uber is right now, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Actually, I think if you just have invested into Instagram in their really early days, you're just now really rich, because they generate so much money, and their stocks, let's even look at their stocks. Do they even have stocks? Or is this a good question? Because I actually do not know, because it doesn't have to be like it. So I don't actually can't find it. I can't find it, so I'll go on. It's a little bit a bad idea, I guess. So yeah, but how are you going to get there? First, you have got to save and invest, become an owner, not just a consumer. And the single best place to compound money over many years is in the stock market. Even though I think having real estate isn't the baddest thing, or isn't the worst thing, sorry, because just, everybody needs something to sleep in or just to live in, and so a lot of people will be just really into renting your fucking home you bought or just build or whatever, and you can just kind of really set a high price. So, but there might be some things about real estate that's not good. So, but I'm not knowing it, so I'm not that educated in this area, and that's the reason why I'm going through the summary actually, because I don't know shit. But how are you going to get there? First, you've got to say, okay, I've read that. And the single best place to come, yeah, I've read that, you dumb motherfucker. Where should I put my money? This is actually the real thing I'm thinking about, because actually I'm thinking like, yeah, sitting on cash all the time might not be the very best idea, even though the stock market might crash or the economy might crash, yeah, but I'm not really hoping for negative things to happen. But the thing is, what should I do with my money? I was actually thinking about using my money to advertise on Instagram for my page and for my for my other things, so YouTube and whatever I have everything quite, Quora as well lately, so follow me on Quora as well. It's this page where you can ask questions and receive questions. No, not receive questions, but yeah, actually receive questions, because actually people can really send you a message that you should actually be answering a question, which is something I just get all the time, but I do not know if it's just generated automatically or if it's like a lot of people get it simultaneously or whatever. But yeah, it's actually a pretty great website to if you really have an important question, because, and even also personal question. So a lot of people are there that are just listening and will really be answering your question, whether it's really personal or not, because they don't know you, and this is actually a good opportunity for people who are having depression and all these mental illnesses, which aren't that great even nowadays in 2019 to talk about, because a lot of people are just that fucking what is it called? It's they're just most of the time it's in terms of old people, they're just like in their own time, even if it's 2019, but just talking publicly about mental illnesses shouldn't be a thing nowadays. And this is actually a reason why I think Quora is a great thing for people, because you can get an answer for every single question you have. So I've actually put my Quora link into the description of the video as well. It should be somewhere in any podcast description. It always depends on what podcast site you're actually on. But there should actually be something somewhere, and you can check it out if you are really willing to, and even if you're really willing to answer some questions, because it's quite fun, because you directly can interact with these people and directly have the actual feeling of helping them, which is kind of great. It is just great. So where should I put my money? The question I've asked myself as well. In an era of compressed interest rates, you earn nothing when you keep your cash in a savings account. Yeah, because it's not taxes, but the percentage you get additionally to it by your bank is just, I don't know, 0.0001. So in 1 billion years, you might get $1 actually, or something. What about stocks? US stock prices and valuations have soared over the past 7.5 years, fueling fears that the market is bound to plunge, which is, I think, just some kind of crash or go down. Maybe I can actually be like, just go down. Seems like to be. So when we look back at the stock market over an entire century, we discovered this extraordinary fact. Financial winter comes on average every year. Once you start to recognize long-term patterns like this, you can utilize them. You see that important aspects of the financial markets are much more predictable than you would have ever realized. I think that's also, kind of, in terms of stock, it also depends on how the company is doing, I think. So this is just what I think, which might then be, it would just make sense that there are some periods of time in the year where everything isn't doing that well. And these should be the times of the year where people aren't doing that well, or just have, on an average base, just do not have that much money left. Which is also the same thing with at the end of the month, people do not have as much money as, in the beginning of the month, which makes total sense because they get paid maybe on the first of the month, and on the 31st one, there shouldn't be money, or is maybe not that much money left. So yeah, it makes totally sense that there are patterns. You see that important aspects of the financial markets are much more, why do I read everything 2 fucking times? It doesn't make any sense. A key point to note, when any market falls by at least 10% from its peak, it's called a correction. When a market falls by at least 20% from its peak, it's called a bear market. The 7 facts. The first one is, on average, corrections have occurred about once a year since 1900. So every year, one time, the market should fall by 10% from its peak. Okay. Historically, the average correction has lasted only 54 days, less than 2 months. In words, most corrections are over almost before you know it. Not that scary, right? The second one is, it might be even scary because if I'm, really thinking correctly, and if I'm really understanding it correctly, these are pretty much the times where you should really buy the stocks, because it would make sense. Because, then the stocks are just, the cheapest, and then you just sell them 2 months from now, and then they go just pretty much 20% up, which, then you have money. If it's that simple, I don't know. And this is actually something I'm really going to invite you to tell me, because these are just my thoughts. I do not know anything about investing. Unfortunately, I'm not that educated in it, and this is why I should actually get educated in it. And so I really invite you to just tell me if I'm talking about bullshit, if there's just really something that's important. So I will definitely be posting it as well, or just being talking about it on Twitter as well, and so on. Yeah. Let's see. So the second one is, less than 20% of all corrections turn into a bear market. If you panic and move into cash during a correction, you may well be, where did I stop? You may well be doing so right before the market rebounds. The third one is, nobody can predict consistently whether the market will rise or fall, which is actually something I can't really believe, because there are so many brokers, as I think they're called, and so many just, investors, and that they really do not know kind of exactly how the market is doing and how the market will be doing, is a little bit surprising to me, actually. The fourth one is, the stock market rises over time despite many short-term setbacks. Despite a 14.2% average drop within each year, the US market ended up with a positive return in 27 of the last 36 years. The fifth one is, historically, bear markets have occurred every 3 to 5 years, but know that they don't last forever on average. They last about a year. The sixth one is, bear markets become bull markets and pessimism becomes optimism. When the mood in the market is overwhelmingly bleak, super investors such as Buffett tend to view it as a positive sign that better times lie ahead. So I have to read it again. So when the mood in the market is overwhelmingly bleak, which means, I don't know, which means uh which means which means bleak like a lot of mountains. No, bleak like, just a flat line, I think. Supervisors such as Buffett tend to view it as a positive sign that better times lie ahead because, it kind of seems like to be a little bit consistent and to be stable. And then assuming that, it will go up is quite, a common sense assumption. And the seventh and last tip is the greatest danger is being out of the market. If you stay in the market long enough, compounding works its magic and you end up with a healthy return even if your timing was hopelessly unlucky, which is true. And it's especially true if you just invest in companies which you really know that they will go up in sales and will go up in their stocks, because it would just make sense that your stocks get how should I say your stocks get more worth over time. This makes sense. The greatest danger, this is just another quote. Hidden fees and half-truth, how Wall Street fools you into overpaying for underperformance. And this is actually, I think, if it's going into this direction that I'm just thinking about now, it is actually going into the direction that, you shouldn't pay some financial advisors or somebody to really invest for you, because most of the time they just, really charge you a lot of fees. And then at the end, you do not get a lot from your return, which is actually something I'm always thinking about. The thing is, you can learn all the things yourself, and you can learn by doing these things, and you can actually learn by actively learning them. So these two things are, at my point of view, available for just in terms of learning. The thing is the time worth it learning all these things about investing in terms of the money? So what I want to say is, isn't it maybe even cheaper for you to just, hire somebody to invest for you? Because, by the time you really invest into knowing how to invest, so the time you invest into how to know what to invest in or how to actually invest, you might have been making way more money than just what you will be doing afterwards, or you will be doing without actually having some kind of advisor or somebody. So I hope you get what I mean. But I actually think, because you're an intelligent person. And by the way, I really hope that you're pretty much doing so incredibly well from the fucking bottom of my heart. This is actually the truth. I hope you're doing so fucking well and hope everything is good at your life in terms of your happiness. I especially wish you real happiness. I think this is the only thing people need. The only thing is happiness. And with happiness, all the other things come. With happiness comes passion, some sort of, because if you're working something that, is just, really fucking you up, you aren't happy. If you're happy, you just, also will be working on something you actually like. And if you're working on something you actually like, you will get pretty successful at it, and you really, might be even passionate, or not might be, you will definitely be passionate about it. Because if it makes you happy, you actually are maybe even some kind of talented. And if you're talented or not, because it makes you happy, you will actually, you will actually be good at it, because it is just something that makes you happy. So, being good is just, it's so correlated to it, so into a connection. I just wish you to be happy. Really, I really wish you to be happy. And with happiness, all wealth and successful and all these things come. So what most people really want, regardless of how much money they have today, is freedom. Freedom to do more of what they want, whenever they want, with whomever they want. And if it's really, about whatever they want, they should really be thinking about what they're working at. or working on. Because if you're really like thinking, I really need that money because I want to do what I actually want to do all the time, you should definitely get another job. Because at my point of view, you should definitely be making less money per year and actually be happy instead of just, getting or earning so much fucking money and being so crippled by your fucking job you're working on every single day for at least 8 hours a day. It's 8 hours a day, man. 8 hours. You're spending 8 hours a day doing something you hate. This can't be your truth. This can't be it. Please work on something you love. Please work on something that you're actually passionate about. I wonder why I'm just doing this right now. I'm doing this because it's actually something that makes me happy, and this is actually something that's fun for me. And even if it's not, it's just, just an experience for me to actually know that, I can just, take it and be like, it's not what makes me happy, and just go on and try something else. The thing is, please just work on something that makes you happy, or that you're passionate about, or you're talented about, or something that helps somebody. Just something that makes you happy, please. I just please you, because I know what it's like to work on something you actually do not like. It's crippling you, and if I just imagine it doing it a third of your fucking entire life, which is such an enormous amount of time, which you can't be wasting on that. Please. Very please. By minimizing fees, you will save years or more likely decades of retirement incomes. Taxes. When two people trade a stock, one must win and one must lose. If the stock goes up after you buy it, you win. You've got to win by a big enough margin to cover those transaction costs. If your stock goes up, you will also have to pay taxes on your profits when you sell the stock. For investors in an actively managed fund, this combination of hefty transaction costs and taxes is a silent killer, quietly eating away at the fund's returns. The largest expenses in your life is taxes, and paying more than you need to pay is insane, especially when it's absolutely avoidable. Your profits could be slashed by fucking 30% or more unless you're holding the funds inside a tax-deferred account such as an IRA, which is individual retirement account, or a 401k plan. Not surprisingly, fund companies like to dwell on these tax issues, preferring to toot their pre-tax returns. If the fund is held in a non-taxable account like 401k, you are looking at total costs of 3.17% a year. If it's a taxable account, the total costs amount to a staggering 4.17 a year. So just 1% more, which is pretty a lot. And a lot of people just really underrate it, or just see it like, it's only 1%, man, so what are you dwelling about? But it's actually a lot. It's actually a lot if you just talk about, a billion as a sum and just take 1% of it, you end up just paying a lot. I don't know. I'm not that good in maths, actually. So seemingly tiny fees can mount up until you've lost almost 2/3 of what you would have had. Yeah, that's true. And I'm actually a little bit surprised on how really, a lot of information you get out of this article, and I hope you get a little bit more even, because it was quite a bit of the basics, but I hope they get a little bit more in detail, and I will actually be talking about it tomorrow as well, because I think it's actually important for me, and maybe even important for you, even though I'm not quite in a position right now to really be investing stuff. I might be like, in the position of building things, and I might even be just wondering, or just, thinking about how I can build my thing a little bit more up, but I'm working on it. And most of the time I just feel like, really doing it is the best way to actually progress it. But yeah, but the thing is, this will then be some kind of the end of the episode, and I hope you get or got a lot out of it, and you actually you know, just had a little bit value from it, or just gain some value from it, and especially actually having fun listening to what I'm talking or to what I'm talking about is also a great thing for me, because I wouldn't actually be listening to Gary Vee's podcasts nearly every single day if they weren't fun to talk to, because I think even or actually because of his personality. But yeah, and this is actually something that I'm trying to build as well, just my personal brand, because I think this is really the first thing I should have to actually some kind of be able to really work on something, yeah to some kind of really think on something pretty big. So because at my point of view, everything gets a little bit more easy if you have an audience, you have people who are following you, and you are actually known as someone. And you can definitely see that every fucking celebrity out there has their own perfumes, even hotels, and so on. And if there weren't celebrities or if they weren't public figures, they wouldn't have had them, or they won't have them right now. But that's another chapter, man and girl, whatever. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, and I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And I hope you are happy, and I hope you are getting successful, and you will get the things you're really willing to achieve in your lives, because this would just make me happy. Yeah, this is just what would make me happy. I really wish it for you. Just, if I can give you something, please just work on something. Do not overthink a lot. I've actually, I think some sort of been the same one. I've actually, always been thinking about how I could gain a lot of money, how, and I was just really thinking about it in a kind of short term, which is total bullshit, really total bullshit, because there are no shortcuts. There was no shortcuts in building muscle, and I'm already in 3 to 4 years, as I remember correctly. And, the progress is just, a really long trip. You can't expect to be rich in the next, I don't know, year, maybe. Even, if you have a really nice idea and you get investors and all these things, it might be. I really do not want to discourage you or something. I want to encourage you to actually, take the first step to work on the things you love, besides, maybe even the job you hate, so that you can sometimes or in some day in your life just, only be working on what you actually love. If it's, just gaining so much money in the meantime. But I wish you have a wonderful day again, and I'll actually see you the next time. I love you.